Sparkle, sparkle. We got these nice new FDF tension arm brackets. Yeah, I think that's tension rod bracket. Whatever, man. It's beautiful. It gives a little multi-fitment. I think this also, is S14 and S13 the same part number, or is it a different part number per? Rain would know.
13 and 14s are different.
They are different, because I know that they're physically different. I just didn't know if you made the part number like unanimous across the chassis. You can rock it just as is, but there is this little provision here where you can add a flossy little Nismo style brace. What we're replacing this is with, I don't know where it went. It's on the ground somewhere, a Nismo brace. Oh, there it is. People have jacked up on it and stuff. Someone's either modified it, or that's how a Nismo one comes in that silver with that power brace in between it. They call it a Nismo power brace. It's really thin tubing too, so we have some nice Dom tubing.
Do the OEM ones have this bar?
No, the OEM ones are just these brackets without these supports in it. So a lot of guys will just modify these supports, but with the car being 20 plus years old, as you just saw from me taking out the hardware on this, a million people have played with it, probably not as properly as it should have been, and it all gets bent and deformed, and you gotta pry stuff to make it fit in place. Obviously with this being bent, it's not making these straight within each other. So a lot of force is going into this. This is literally what ties your whole front suspension together. If you didn't have that, your wheel would just fall back and forth. So especially in a higher scale of drifting and like Pro Spec, FD and stuff like that, you definitely want to beefing up a lot of the spots that you can on the chassis. So yeah, these new brackets made out of like a higher strength alloy steel compared to this. If you've worked on any 90s JDM car, it's made out of like less than 16 gauge, like 18, 20 gauge sheet metal. Like I can just smack this eyelet in on itself, and then now your Heim joints are gonna be a pain, or if you dug it too tight, your Heim joints are now a pain to get on and off. This kit's gonna be a lot stronger, so you're not gonna have that issue going forward. And then you can make a flossy power brace that's gonna be way stronger that you can probably actually jack the car up from. So we'll get this other one mounted up on there. I had to freshen up the hardware on this because 240 owners, all the bolts are spinning in the chassis. If you own one of these, you'll probably have to deal with the same thing, and it turns a 1 hour job into a whole weekend real quick if you don't have tools. So be prepared if you're not from Florida and you're working on a 20-year-old chassis that 20 other people have worked on. You're gonna have to adapt and overcome a couple scenarios, but nothing is impossible. It's just nuts and bolts and welds and cuts and grinds. And I already went over all the hardware on this side. That came off way better. Annie seized it, re-ran the threads through it, so we're gonna take the other arm, throw it up on there with the other little nifty bolt-on plate that we have here. I'm a really simple fabricator, so I'll pretty much have them both up on. Josiah be like 3D scanning and like figuring out the exact angles. I'm just gonna bolt them both on. I'm gonna lay under it like this. I'm gonna put the tube up against it. I'm gonna mark my first angle, put it in the bandsaw, cut it, bring it back over, see how close we are. It's metal, you can always cut less. It's hard to add it back, so leave yourself some room. Obviously this isn't gonna be straight, so I can already tell this is gonna be like a fat, not fat, like a 25, 30 degree angle into each side, and then trim it all up to make it fit. I got my MIG and my TIG here. I might just MIG tack them on the vehicle and then bring it down to the bench, and then I'll just TIG weld them on. Kyle can TIG weld them on. Rain can, we can all have a little. So we got the new FDF tension rod bracket on the table. These brackets are super beefy. You could probably honestly just bolt this onto the chassis and it's gonna be a superior upgrade compared to the factory one. What we do recommend though is making it like that power brace design. It's just gonna add more strength into it. The kit isn't supplied with the tube for it because it's usually easier for you to source tube locally and ship tube locally, especially if you're buying like a 2-foot section like this. We do recommend using an 1.25 inch Dom tube, so a drawn over mandrel. Traditionally, that is going to be a general recommendation, especially in any form of automotive fabrication, roll cages, bash bar bumpers and stuff. You probably can get away with laser seam stuff on that because they are kind of a piece that's made to break. But in general, you want to make this as strong as possible. You're going to get as strong tubing as possible. Step up from this would be chromoly, double, triple the cost of what this piece would be in chromoly. Shy of that, it is not mandatory to add this in. I do recommend adding it in, especially if you like making shit, because now you're gonna make this little section of your own. All right, so we got the chassis taken apart now. We got this one side remedy because I had to do some fun stuff on this one. This one came apart pretty decent. All the bolts stayed in the chassis, which is sweet. So you have your 2 connection points here, and then you have your 2 connection points in the front. This is a radiator stay point where the little rubber is gonna kind of sneak in there. It honestly just slides right up on. There's a little bit of elongation in the holes to make your job easier, because especially these cars, if you, even Jack will come look at this front cross member, they've jacked up on that too. So this is not straight right there at all. So everything kind of gets moved. So there is a little bit of room for movement in there. The sway bar bracket does come back up and get attached on that. But once we get all the bolts up on, we can just play with that after. So we'll just get these 2 front ones in and then these 2 back ones in, hand thread them all up in loose. Learned that at a young age playing with dirt bike fenders. You can get all your hardware in loose first, and then you tighten it up. Because if you just tighten one first, the others aren't gonna line up now, and now you're struggling. So get that in, nice and snug. Ta-da! So that's in there now, and then I'll just grab that Dom tube that we just had on the table, grab a nice Sharpie. That one kind of sucks, but, and a good general idea, you can get a chair even if you want. I might even grab a little chair. Give me that chair, Kyle. And kind of just hold it up under. I have a lot of excess in this that I can kind of play with. If you're worried about scratching up your paint, you can always throw some painter's tape on it. So I just want to generally center it where I want to be, and I'm just going to pick a starting point. Hold it straight to your other side. Again, this is just general. You can play with it all after. So I just kind of mark 2 points of my general angle sweep that I want on it. And I'll just kind of connect the dots. Only one way to find out, right, Jack? I'm sure I could get fancy and like grab a protractor. Ends up with a 32.2 degree angle that you need to fit in there, and yeah, too much math for me. I just like cutting shit. So I started cutting. Yeah, you can easily cut this with a chop saw, angle grinder, sawzall even. I've already half done the cut, so I'll just finish it off with the sawzall. We don't even know if our angle's right, so let's go check it. See, so now it's like we can tell instantly we need a lot more angle on that, which is no problem because we have tons of meat, but now at least we can get it in there and see where it's off. I think I'd say that's pretty perfect, eh? Ta-da!
You mark the other side, so that means you have your overall length now?
Yeah, I have my overall length, and same thing as I mentioned before, this isn't right where it should be. I've left myself a little bit of room, an 8, 16, whatever number you want. You want it to like smack in there. You want it to like, nice. If it does have a little bit of gap, you can, you know, like get it in there and tack it in, but technically it will pull it all together, but there's enough playroom and everything, it should be fine. It's sitting pretty flush. We might even just TIG tack this on, eh, Kyle?
Oh yeah, brother.
So then I'll roll the MIG back away and then roll the TIG over, which is one thing that I designed here. In Oshawa, I can't really bring my TIG welder to the bay, which kind of sucks. I've done it, but it's like, I bring it as far as I can, and then I literally have a 10-foot section of piping with the ground cable on it, and then a pair of booster cables from the other end of the pipe to the car to get the ground. Yeah, dude, the old ground extension. No big deal. What, you guys don't do that? Bring it all over here again, weld it up on the table with all the boys. Everyone gets a pass on it.
JL's running a pass.
Yeah, dude, let's go. Yeah, why not? Get the JL Fab end links out. So I've drilled so much stuff in here, Jack. 2 of these holes are gonna line. Look at that.
How many of these holes are just cross-threaded?
None. They're all nice,
Really?
dude. They're just all for different flanges and There's a couple of broken taps in them because I'm going to throw so much heat into this plate. It's going to warp it and move it. It would honestly probably be fine without it. I just like being a little extra sometimes. The boys do some rounds on it. Mine was okay.
Welding helmet here.
Ready? How crispy is that Miller Arc, eh, Kyle?
It's very crispy.
It's pretty crispy.
And your helmet's not absolutely filthy like mine.
Get off or what? Oh, you kind of went down.
Major beadage.
I said a chain.
Okay, how much are you gonna weld with it? I want like this much.
Yeah, leave Jack.
Oh, you want a little
leave
bit?
Jack the outside.
Okay.
I just don't want to be so good though that like I take Kyle's job. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's a problem, yeah. Just try not
Filmer
to.
and fabricator? 2 in 1?
You call him the Jack of all trades.
Man, don't gritty until after.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't want to get too cocky.
Okay, how do you do this?
1/8 of an inch away from the puddle, you go in and just touch it to make like a little bead. And you pull.
This up so hard.
Honestly,
He's got to edit.
Okay, so pedal.
I did, but it just It's okay. You tip it a little bit, just pull it up. It's okay.
You look like Iron Man. You got stuck, dude. Too close. I touched it.
dude, I did it.
Hell yeah. Let's go, Jack!
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah, that looks better than Kyle's.
Let's go.
This will get your YouTube comment section going, dude. That JL Fab hit it with a flawless victory. Just got a little penfold.
We'll just
I think that's it. I think that concludes the FDF tension brace install with the boys doing the train on the tube there, you know, everyone got a little weld on there. Turned out sweet, flawless victory. Easy install, even with broken Nissan hardware that 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people have played with and not done right, but whatever. We got all matching bolts everywhere now, so it's just one size, which is my favorite. Everything's clean, definitely way stronger than it was before. Looks better too. I like the black. I'll bring this out and I'll get it powder coated. I think that's pretty much it for the install on the S13 brace. You can head to fdfraceshop.com and place your order today. This is available for S13 and S14. It'll probably be honestly one of the strongest parts of the chassis.
And R32.
And R32, yeah. Again, any questions? We're always happy to help, answer any questions people have, ask why we did things a certain way. I don't know why I do things a certain way, I just do them. That's about it.